Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy, Gardiner. I'm here today with some interesting news regarding Linux video games and emulation on Linux hardware. EmuDeck has launched the EmuDeck machines. This is kind of fascinating to me because this is not something I would expect from the EmuDeck team. I'm not intimately familiar with the people that work on that team, so I don't know if there are hardware experts on their team or whatever, but they're primarily known for their software. EmuDeck is a great software utility for playing retro games on your Steam Deck and other handhelds and what have you. So the fact that they're kind of venturing into this territory was unexpected to me. Not to say that's a bad thing. You look at this and it's clear that they're retro gaming enthusiasts. The EmuDeck machine case, the chassis, is clearly modeled after the Sega Dreamcast. And being true to their emulation roots, I would be surprised if this was anything other than emulating the look of a disk drive, right? Like, this is not an optical media drive. This is just there for aesthetic purposes, I'm imagining. And they're building this as PCs built and tailored for retro gaming and Steam games. Now let me back up for just a second, because every Friday I produce a video. It's the Linux gaming roundup for the week. Every Friday you can check that out. So if you want to see that, get subscribed to the channel so you don't miss them. As I had finished writing and recording my Friday video, this news dropped. At least it showed up in my feed. I had intended to record an extra bit at the end after I was finished editing, but I was pressed for time and I kind of forgot about it, honestly. So I'm talking about it today. So let's scroll down here and see what we actually are being sold here. Play your retro games from your couch with what looks like 2 USB 3 ports and 2 USB-A ports based on the color here. There's a custom retro-inspired shell with 4 USB ports in the front, power and reset switch. I'm interested how this reset switch is going to work. Is that just going to be literally like any other PC case has a reset switch? In which case, why? Those are kind of vestigial at this point, aren't they? Then there's one USB-C port in the back, 2.4 gigabit Ethernet in the back, and an HDMI output at 4K, which is interesting. It's powered by Bazzite Linux, which is a good operating system, especially for gaming. Then you have gaming mode with optimized user experience. No details on what that actually means, at least yet. I haven't looked at this whole page fully yet. GameSir Nova Lite controller. Now, it's possible that you can pre-order this and get a controller with it or not, and it will have EmuDeck pre-installed. Then there's going to be automatic and zero config retro games Steam library. That's interesting, and I'm curious how that's going to be achieved as well. Now, the specifications. The CPU is the Ryzen 8600G with 7600M graphics, or 760M graphics, I should say. It has 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and 1 USB-C. No rating on this USB-C port, interestingly. Then we have 16 gigabytes of RAM at it's DDR5 at 6,000 megatransfers per second. 512 gigabytes of internal NVMe storage, which seems a little low to me. But I mean, this is a dedicated emulation box, so maybe that's not too small. I don't know. It also includes Wi-Fi 6AX. And it's user upgradable. There's no information on it whether Bluetooth is available on this thing. I would imagine if it has a Wi-Fi chip, then it will probably have Bluetooth, but interesting omission from the spec list here. And then they give some new games that are playable and at what frame rates you can expect. Hades at 200 FPS plus, Cyberpunk 2077 60, GTA 5 is 110. And so on and so forth. Then it comes down here to emulators, which is probably the bread and butter of this device. And we have CEMU at 60 FPS, we have PCSX2 at 60, we have RPCS3 at 40 to 60, Xenia at 40 to 60, and Dolphin at 60. They're billing this as emulation on easy mode. It has a complete chassis, a complete shell, the Ryzen APU, motherboard, and the GameSir controller, and it comes in at 629 euros. Now, 629 euros for my American friends. is about $696. There's also a DIY version up here for $165. And this includes USB front and back ports, a back USB-C port, Ethernet and HDMI, Wi-Fi coaxial extension, power and reset switches, and it is shipped as an ITX case with a 200-watt power supply, but you provide the actual hardware. And that sheds some light on what they're actually selling here. This is a custom ITX chassis with or without the hardware components. So is this doable for what they're looking at? Yeah, probably. I think it is. They're also going to offer a docking station, although from what I've read, this is not going to be ready at release. You're going to be able to dock, they call it a steam machine here, but it's an EmuDeck machine, the EM2, to get discrete graphics power. So basically this is a GPU with a Radeon 7600 desktop. And so it would, I guess it's going to stack on top of this chassis here. Interesting. I'm curious why it sticks out just slightly on the left there. And I'm curious how it's actually going to interface with this device. Is there going to be a PCIe expansion slot on the underside that you can like open up and mount it on top of? That would be that would be kind of cool. So now we have the project's timeline. This is how we expect the campaign to go. Dates can change depending on if there are some delays. So they have hardware selection, they have hardware OC and testing, and hardware stock securing all checked off. I guess this is the year. So 9/24 would be September. They want to have a prototype 3D CAD model and prototype 3D print testing completed. And then they want to have prototype FCC and CE compliance and regulation and everything set up for it. And that's by October. In November, they want manufacturing and assembling, and then they want to ship in December. That seems like a very ambitious timeline to me, and I would not be surprised if this went into February or even March. That seems ambitious. Let's just leave it at that. So this comes in multiple versions. There's the EM2 DIY kit, which is basically just an ITX chassis with some custom circuit boards for the back and the front I/O. And that's a reasonable amount, $165 USD. That's pretty good in my opinion. That's comparable with a lot of other like specialty ITX cases that I've seen on the market. Then there's the EM2 with no controller, which is listed at $674. That's early bird pricing, right? Then there's the EM2 US, which is $696. I'm not sure what the difference is here. Does that include the controller? I don't know. Then there's a Canadian variant and an EU with VAT included variant. This is an IndieGoGo campaign. And one thing that always kind of tickles my spidey sense, if you will, is when a campaign has a flexible goal. Now, look, I don't want to poo-poo what they're doing here. And like I said, I don't know their team and I don't know who they have working on this project. So I don't want to like just crap all over this. But as a rule, I don't subscribe to flexible goals. Basically, this means that if they don't reach their end goal, which is $69,574 apparently, then they just get whatever the amount is. So if you make a pledge here, you're actually like putting money down to buy one of these things, which is cool, right? Like if you want to get one of these, you can sign up to get one. This is basically a pre-order, right? But also a lot of Indiegogo and Kickstarter and crowdfunding campaigns end up with nothing to show for it at the end. Like they make a bunch of money and then they disappear. Now, I am not saying that the EmuDeck team are going to do that, right? I'm not saying that at all. They produce some great software. My question is, they're in the concept stage, right? Like this is just a 3D render of what they're working on. If we look at the images here, that's clearly not the same device as this, right? Now, they have some things going for them. First of all, they have a prototype of the software working. That's because they've already built EmuDeck, and this is going to be running Bazzite Linux when it launches. Great. That's a lot of problems solved right off the bat. The biggest thing is going to be manufacturing this and getting the bespoke circuit board with the chips that they need. I think it's doable, right? But again, this flexible goal has me just a little bit worried. Now let's actually look at what they're doing, because this, like I said, this is just a concept. There's still prototypes to be built. There's still production to sort out, which is a non-trivial issue. And then there's shipping to backers. So, I'm looking at this and I think it looks pretty cool. I would love to see it be a complete success and for them to hit all of their targets in terms of production and shipping. I'm a little skeptical, to be frank, I'm a little skeptical that they can hit December with this, but I would love to be proven wrong on that. And because it's a flexible thing, I don't think I'm going to be picking one up. But if you've got money you want to put into this, and having consoles on the market that ship with Linux is a good thing. Pre-built hardware that ships with Linux is a good thing. So I want nothing more than to see this succeed. So yeah, that's the video. There's going to be a link to the IndieGoGo page if you want to check this out for yourself and see if you want to make your pledge or whatever the appropriate word to call this is. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think about this. Let me know what you think about this video. You can share this with your friends if you're interested, and make sure you like that smash button to tell YouTube you want to stay up to date with the rest of the content that I've got going on here. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, and check out maybe this video where I review some mini PCs.